It goes on and on and on.
Remind me of
Everything tonight.
yes, I'm in the zone.
Dreaming about the things that we could be.
So it's gonna be forever. You already know. That's what feel me when I'm in the spot.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Is it too late now to say?
I need a one dance, and then we start to dancing up.
Matovu Manai. Ine Matovu Manai, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Ine Matovu Manai, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov Manai, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad. Ine Matov Manai, Shevet Ahim Gam Yachad.
I invite you now to turn in your prayer books to page 72, where you'll find the blessing that we recite when putting on a talit, and it's an honor to invite Jackson's dad, Daniel, to share a few words of blessing with him and present him with his talit, his prayer shawl, signifying his entrance into the adult community of Israel.
Jackson. This represents reverence to God and service to God. And I just hope and pray that when you do pray, that you're connected to the Almighty and God comes first in your life. If God comes first in your life, then everything else will make sense and it will fall in order, and it will have a sense of organization and a sense of completeness. So I just wish you to, that this protects you and carries you forward in your life with grace and with God present.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. We continue on page 67. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nature. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to richer and more meaningful life. We continue on page 74 with the singing of Matova.
Israel, Matov. משכנותיך ישראל, מה טובו, מה טובו, ברוך עמך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, משכנותיך
On pages 76 and 78, we will now be led by Jackson's Aunt Judy and Mariana in those readings by recording.
Praise to you, Adonai, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it. You shaped it. You breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind.
We continue on page 80 with our blessings of thanksgiving, our mantra of gratitude for all of the daily miracles that we enjoy. Page 80.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sekvivina l'havhin ben yom uvein layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokif kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzvah gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten la'ed koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir she'nei me'enai u'nema me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben korim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael begevurah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, otir Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen. Page 86, our blessing for Torah study, which will be led by Jackson's teacher of Torah, one of many, Ginny Mercer, who will also share a few words.
I have more than just a few words. I'm going to take some time up here, Jackson. Just kidding. Okay. I have been looking forward to teaching you for years, truly, truly. And I knew it would be good, but I never knew it would be so interesting. Okay, besides, we started at the temple, moved to online, you taught me technology. Here we are in person again. Okay, besides that you had at least 3 study teams, right? With all the shifting and everybody's cancellations, besides the pandemic, besides all that, it has been interesting because you are interesting. You didn't just swallow this. You're not a sheep. You're the kind of person I really, really respect because you're a thinker. You looked at the pros and cons. You had doubts. You wrestled with this, and here you are. It works out. So you were so Jewish, right? So Jewish. You could have written the Talmud all by yourself, because you know, a page of Talmud is full of arguments. This one, this one, this one, this one, and it never comes up with a final solution, and that's going to be you, because you're going to work it out, and you're going to keep your mind wide open, because that's who you are. You've heard 2 Jews, 3 opinions. That's what we're talking about, thinkers. So also because they're laughing, because you know we all know this is kind of a mixed blessing in a way, but it's a blessing. Because you're thinking things out, you don't have to be locked into anything. You can be flexible. You can have this opinion, and then you can have that opinion. And I would actually like you guys to turn to page 85 and look at the top of that, because this is what I think of when I think of Jackson. It says, "I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind." You're right on board. You're with it. So did you know that the word Israel means one who wrestles with God? So you're wrestling with God, and sometimes God loses. Sometimes you're on top. Sometimes God's on top. And listen, if this is just a metaphor for you, that's fine too. It's all good. Just the wheels are turning. Thank you for giving me such an interesting 10 months or however long it's been. It's been a really long time. And here we are. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Can I hug? Can I hug? Sure. Can we hug? Okay. Okay. Mwah. Oh, there's more. There's always more. I get so excited that I forget about the next part. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Page 86 at the top. The blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. And on page 88 in the middle, these are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We continue and rise on page 106 for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yigadol v'yikadash Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Bama divrachu te v'yamlich mochute b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari. V'imaru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach, ve'olam u'olmei almaya, yibarach, V'yitpara, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yialev, v'yithalal, shemei dekudashah, b'richu. Li'ala min kol behirata v'shirata, tushbechata v'ne'emata, t'amiran b'yalma, v'imaru, amen. Baruch hu et Adonai chamvorach,
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvrei choshech, oseh shalom uvrei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladrim alecha barachamim, uvtuvo mekadesh b'chol yom tamid, ma'aseh v'reishit ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, Malach haaretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'orei or shiasata, yafarucha sela, or chadash asion ta'ir, v'nizkehu lanu me'era la'oro, Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamorot.
On page 113, Ruthie.
Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. And light-blinded, we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke, and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again. Your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, hapater ba'amo Israel b'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad, Baruchim kevod malchuto leolam va'ed. Va'achavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol ma'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anohi matavecha hayom olevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha v'derech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam liot al yadecha v'chayu l'totafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tiskru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'eloheichem ani Adonai Eloheichem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We continue on page 121. Hank. You should keep your mask on, please.
Mask on, she says. The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God, Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedarat b'chodesh, Norah tehilot, Oseh peleh, Norah tehilot, Oseh peleh. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai. Shira chadshcha shipugeuni, v'shimcha asvatayam, yachad kulam, odu be'elimu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch ve'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch ve'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch ve'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch ve'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai lai, 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 yai lai lai lai. Zur Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Uvdechenu mecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael. Go aleinu, Adonai Tzivaot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Page 124.
Adonai sefatayv tifta ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanorah, El Malachim tovim vekonei hakol v'zocher hafstei avot v'imachot umevi gula livnei v'neihem leman shemo be'ahava melech ozer u'mashiach u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Lechoshiyah Morid Atah Mechakel Chayim B'chesed Mechayei Metim B'rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'rofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevurot Umito Melach Melech Memit Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman al Tahayot Metim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim.
Page 130.
Kadesh et Shimcha ba'olam Kashem shemakdeshim oto b'shmei marom Kakatuv yad neviecha V'kara el zev amar Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Malach haaretz kavodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Ma'atir Shimcha b'chol haaretz Baruch kavod Adonai mimkomo Echad hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu V'hu Yoshienu Berachamav Le'nei kol chai Ani Adonai Eloheinu Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohai Tzion L'dor v'dor Hallelujah L'dor v'dor nagid God lecha U'lenetzach netzachim kedushacha nakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
Page 132 with joy.
Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei Oneg Shabbat Mekadeshei Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat Kulam Yisbeu V'yitamtu B'chashabat Yismechu V'malechutecha למלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידש שבת. כן דבר ימים, אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We continue on page 135. Deborah.
Where has this weekend vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover from it? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while which must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and the days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Page 137, Tina.
Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. On page 138, Josh.
We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put your hope in you.
Page 140, a prayer for peace.
Sim Shalom.
Take a moment of silence.
Page 141.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all people of the earth. Bless our country as safeguards of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bond of friendship and fellowship among all inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul. And may the love of nature of your name hallow every home, every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who bless your people with peace.
We turn now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah, which you can find on pages 248 and 49. I invite the whole congregation to please rise, and those who are passing Torah through the generations to join us on the bima.
We are gifts and we are blessing. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. L'dor vador nagid God lecha. L'dor vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed, we are holy, we are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. L'dor vador nagid God lecha. L'dor vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name.
So Jackson, you already heard one message from your dad, his hope and dream that God will be a presence, a nurturing, sacred, loving, trusted presence in your life. You heard a message from Ginny that you belong in this people because we're thinkers and we wrestle with ideas and we have opinions that can be varied and change over time. And I wanted to add a third dimension to that, which is that I think that what Judaism is also trying to do is teach us how to think through our hearts as well as our minds. That might be where God is, actually, is when we can think with our hearts, then we're getting the transmission. I think that's the challenge. I think that's maybe even the stretching place for you. And I'll tell you something. It feels good to think through my heart. I actually have a bumper sticker now in my car that says, if you live in your heart, you'd already be home. I think that's the name of the game. And also, you don't have to agree with me. And I'm still going to give you this Torah. Because it's yours. It's yours. And I'm really proud of you. You had longer to think about this day and what it meant to you than most kids do. and you had more space to think and wrestle with what this moment meant to you, which is great. And you didn't swallow it whole, and that's great. And I would just invite you, the man who has vision and imagination, to imagine that there's more to wrestle with. There's more to be learned from this. And that's all that happens after today, is just the more, the deeper, the way to be at home in your heart, to think and act through your mind and heart. Actually, in your dad's Hebrew name is Lev, which means heart, but it actually means mind-heart. They're one thing in Jewish tradition. One thing. There's not just our thinking mind and our feeling heart. It's like this merger of this other entity which actually sets us on the path that we need to be on. So I hope that your Lev, your beautiful mind heart, will always find its way back into this community right here at CBHT, but you will always belong to the children of Israel, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud that this Torah will go through these generations of your family and reach you.
We protect his chain from generation to generation. The door vador, these lips will praise your name.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Merushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachdav.
Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Be careful. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on our tongue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kijanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu לעשות בדברי תורה, לעשות בדברי תורה. Sweet as honey, sweet as honey, sweet as honey on
My Torah portion is Naso from the book Leviticus. It is the longest single portion in the Torah, containing 176 verses. The reading starts with a continuation of the Levite census and a discussion regarding their tabernacle porterage duties. The laws of the Sotah, adulterous woman, and Nazarite follow. The portion concludes with the priestly blessing and the offerings which the tribal leaders brought in honor of the tabernacle inauguration. The census taking in Naso tells us we must stand up, be counted, and are expected to make a contribution to our Jewish community. It's a matter of ceremony as well as practicality. Someone has to bring the tent to the meeting. Unfortunately, we spent the last year plus divided and unable to gather and support one another like we did for my fellow B'nai Mitzvah. I also feel very isolated during remote learning because I could not hang with my peers. I felt lonely, lost, and distracted. As the COVID restrictions lessen and I'm attending school in person, I feel the rush of excitement and recognize the privilege of contributing to my communities, similar to how I imagine the 12 tribal chieftains felt when they were bringing their offerings to the sanctuary's dedication ceremony. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out where I belong in the world and the role I'm to play within my communities. But now more than ever, on this day, I'm recognized by my Jewish family as a man. I'm ready to show up and be counted. For my mitzvah project, I've been volunteering with Wild for Life, whose primary mission is to provide exceptional, compassionate, and knowledgeable care for injured and or orphaned wildlife, with the ultimate goal being the successful release back into the wild. I chose this organization because I believe we need to be stewards of nature and respect all living creatures. We are brothers and sisters from the same Mother Earth. I'm helping them manage the landscaping. I hope they are able to realize their goal of educating more kids my age on conservation awareness by inviting school programs to visit their operation in Asheville. I'm proud to be Jewish because our religion and culture teaches us how to remember our roots and the roads we've traveled. We bring the past and present and allow it to guide our future. Judaism places strong emphasis on questioning and learning. We are taught to challenge widely held beliefs until we can make them our own. Judaism teaches us to see and treat every person as a human being, because we are all created in God's image. I know that I'm here for my community, and that my community is here for me.
Jackson will be reading from Numbers starting at chapter 4, verse 24, which can be found in the red commentaries in your pews on page 791 if you would like to follow along. And for the honor of an Aliyah to surround him as he reads Torah, I invite his parents, Kathleen and Daniel Klibanoff, to the Torah. Ya'amod lev ben ma'or la'aliyah la Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamavarak.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hamavarak Le'olam Va'ed. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Zod avodat mishpachot hagershuni lavod ulamasach v'nasa'u et yiriot hamishkan ve'et ochel moed mi'iseichu uv'misei hatachash asher Allah mi'omala ve'et masach petach ohel moed ואת כל כלי המחצר, ואת מסך פתח שער החצר, אשר על המשכן ועל המזבח סביב, ואת מטריהם, ואת כל כלי עבודתם, ואת כל אשר אעשה להם ועבדו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu emet v'chaye olam nata v'tokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now it is an honor to invite our bar mitzvah to Torah, Jackson Morris Klibanoff. Ya'amod bachor bar mitzvah Eyal ben Lev la'aliyah la'Torah.
Baruch hu Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Al pi acharon uvonav tihyeh kol avodat b'nei hagershuni v'chol masa'am u'lechol avodatam uvkatem alehem b'mishmeret et kol masa'am. Zod avodat mishpachot v'nei hagershuni Ohel Moed Umishmartam Bayad Itamar Ben Acharon HaKohen B'nei Merari Lemishpachoteam Leit Avotam Tifkodotam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et Eyal ben Lev שהגיע למצוות ועלה לכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמרהו ויחייהו ויכונן את ליבו להיות שלם עם אדוני אלוהיו, ללכת בתורתו, ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו. וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיו, יזכו הוריו לגדלו לתורה וחופה ומעשים טובים. וימצא חן בשכל טוב בעיני אלוהים באדם, ונאמר, Amen. May God, who blessed all of our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Jackson, who has come for an aliyah upon reaching the age of mitzvot, with reverence for God and Torah and Shabbat. May the Holy One of Blessing continue to protect and sustain Jackson, helping him to be wholehearted in his faith, to study Torah, fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in divine ways. May his parents continue to rear him to maturity, guiding Jackson to the continued blessings of Torah study, of escorting him to the chuppah should he so choose, and filling his life with ma'asim tovim, acts of loving kindness to humans and animals alike. May he find favor before God and our community as we all say together, Amen.
Amen.
At this time, we offer blessings also of healing in the sacred presence of Torah from Jackson's extended family and friends. We think of Judy Engel, Ron Engel, Don Jackson, and Teresa Branham. Are there additional names we'd like to add this morning for healing? Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yibarech v'Yirapeh et HaCholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimaleh Rachamim Aleihem L'Hachazikam U'L'Rabotam V'Yishlach Lahem Mehera Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh U'Refuat HaGuf B'toch Shar Cholei Yisrael Hashka B'Gala V'Zman Kariv V'Nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors, bring blessing and healing to all of these who are broken in mind, body, or spirit. May the Holy One of blessing mercifully restore them to health and vigor. May God grant them physical and spiritual well-being together with all others who struggle. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
I invite you to please rise. As you lift and dress the Torah. I'm going to push it on here.
וזאת התורה שעשה משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלוא. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלוא. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ.
Jackson will be reading from his Haftarah, which comes from the book of Judges, starting at chapter 13 at verse 19, which you can find in the red commentaries on page 814, and he'll start with the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu Bachar bin V'im Tovim V'Ratzav V'Divreichem HaMe'emarim Be'emet Baruch Atah Adonai HaBocher BaTorah Uf Moshe Avdo Uf Yisrael Amo Uvin V'Yeh HaEmet Tzedek. So Manoah took the kid and some grain, put it on a rock, and offered it up to the Eternal. As Manoah and his wife watched, they saw something extraordinary. As the flame rose skyward from the altar, the angel of the Eternal went up in the flame. Seeing this, Manoah and his wife threw themselves to the ground, face downward. Only then did Manoah understand that this was truly an angel of the Eternal. Never again did the angel of the Eternal appear to Manoah and his wife. So Manoah said to his wife, "We shall surely die, because we have seen a divine being." But his wife answered him, "Had the Eternal intended to take our lives, God would not have taken from us a burnt offering and a meal offering, and would not have shown us all this and given us such a message just now." Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zor kol Yisrael haolamim Tzadik b'chol ha'adorot Ha'el Haneman, Hamaber Umoseh, Hamadaber Umakayim, Shekol Havara, Et Tzedek, All HaTorah, V'al Havada, V'al Hanviim, V'al Yom HaShabbat Chazech, Shetnatatawanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha V'limnucha, L'chavod Ultifaret, Al HaChol, Adonai Eloheinu, Avodam Difaret, L'malachim Otam, L'barach Shirva, Et V'kol Chai, Zayid Olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. We rise on page 256 to return the Torah to the ark. Tyler is opening.
Very proud of you. It's been a long haul. It really has been, and I've seen you hang in there with it against all odds, and to be here today to accomplish what you've accomplished serves as evidence of what you're capable of doing if you put your mind to it, right? I was talking about putting God first in your life, and I'm thinking of small miracles that have occurred in my life that involve you. One of which is that I dreamed of having a son, and I prayed that I someday could have a son. And as God would have it, on July 2nd, 2006, you were conceived, which was the day that Kathleen and I got married. And 9 months later, we welcomed you into the world. You've had the extreme honor and also the responsibility of carrying on the Klibanoff name. You are kind of the caboose, so to speak, the end of the grandchildren, and you have the Klibanoff name, and you will be passing that down to another generation. And that's a big responsibility. And I know and feel very strongly that you can live up to that, and you'll do it with great honor and great reverence, and you will live your life in an exemplary way that will demonstrate to others that you are a man of heart and soul. And I also think about some things I've said to you. I always say to you, and I have for years, that you have the whole package. And I know you thought it meant that when Amazon Prime delivered, you had the whole package, right? Okay, that's not what I was talking about. I'm saying to you, you have all the components, all the traits to be really a very successful, very accomplished man in your life and to do great things. You have the intelligence, you have the emotional maturity, you have the charisma to do pretty much anything you put your mind to. And whatever you choose to do, I know you'll do well at it. You've also heard me talk about gratitude and humility and trying to stay grounded. And it's difficult to do, but, and it took me a while to figure this out, but trying to put other people first and not always thinking about how we favor ourselves or do things that benefit us. I also think about the fun and the love and the joy that you bring to this family. Very few people get to see the side of you that Mom and I do, which is the comical side, the I can't even say the word, improvisation, the quick wit, the rolling in the aisle, funny lines, the creative imagination, just come up with stuff like that just has me and Mom in tears. And it's a tremendous gift to be able to do that and to make people smile and to give people an opportunity to laugh. It's a real gift. And you were born with that gift. And you know, there's a lot of ways that you can use that to touch the world and those around you, to bring laughter and to bring joy to people that need that in their lives. And I want you to share that with the world because you truly have that gift, and you shouldn't just keep it, between the three of us. You're very loving. As I said a second ago, you're very emotionally mature. You say to Mom and I throughout the day, without any exception, how much you love us. I love you, Dad. I love you, Mom. And it's beautiful to hear that. And you don't seem to have any reservation about showing that love, even physically, by putting your arms around me or hugging on your mom and showing some physical affection at the same time that you're verbalizing from your heart how you really feel. And that really shows a degree of sensitivity and, again, emotional maturity, which I think is something that is not always, present in someone your age. And I know your heart, and that heart is so sweet, and it's so tender, and it's so loving, and it's so caring, that I want you to hold on to those aspects of your character and apply that in all facets of your life. Because when you combine the rest of the package with what I just said, it becomes a very powerful and a very significant way that you can enter the rest of the world as you grow up and accomplish, again, great things. So I'm very proud of you. I look forward to lots of other times together, lots of laughter, lots of seeing you grow up as a young man, because it's gonna be really a very, I would say, significant and very, I'm running out of words, sorry. To watch you take what you have learned and to apply it in your life will be a beautiful thing. That's what I was trying to say. So thank you for all you've done. I love you very much. Congratulations.
So the one positive thing about being masked is I have a built-in Kleenex. But just in case I have an extra one. My sister and my friends know this is a big deal to speak to Jackson. And I know he's bracing himself for mother's tears. But let's start with a riddle, because what bar mitzvah is complete without a riddle? So here it goes. What is 18 inches long and considered the longest journey you will ever make?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. Because the rabbi gave you the answer, little did you know. But also a Sioux chieftain gave us the answer, and he said, the longest journey you will ever make is the journey from your head to your heart. Your journey began on March 31st, 2007. You were received by friends and family, a joyful noise commingling with the cries of our baby boy announcing his arrival. It was a game changer. 14 years later, I stand here beside a man who has the key to my heart. I waited 40 years for you, but the world has been waiting much longer. The world needs to hear your laughter, feel your hugs, and benefit from your emotional intelligence, out of this world imagination, keen insights and observations. I know firsthand that your love heals and inspires. Your childhood was a series of great adventures, whether we were having a picnic in the front yard, going to the dollar store for Pokemon cards, or walking along the Great Wall of China in the snow. But now, your father and I step back, and you forge on, sharing your stories and lessons learned while creating new memories. Be a humble leader, trust your tender heart, and never forget who walked before you and who followed you so closely. You are never alone, and it has been a blessing beyond measure to walk beside you. In your life, you will travel that long road from head to heart many times over. Trust me. But if ever you need me, I'm right here in your heart. I love you, and I'm very proud of you.
Please rise. There's only one bar or bat mitzvah a year who gets to get the priestly benediction in their Torah portion as well as on the bima. The priestly benediction is part of this week's Torah portion, and it's some of the most beautiful, beautiful Torah that has ever been written. And in it, it says, may God bless you, watch over you, guide you, and keep you. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and through you, and may God smile upon you and grant you peace. And what I reminded you when we rehearsed is that whenever you hear that blessing, it's an opportunity, an invitation for you to remember how blessed and safe and how light transmits through you, and that you are whole and you have peace. So may this be one of many times that that blessing makes you remember all of those things.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. יאר נאי פניו אליך ויחונקה. יסר נאי פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
We remain standing as we turn to 282 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We think now of loved ones, those whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we've drawn into our hearts with our own. We remember from Jackson's extended family, Roslyn and Morris Klibanoff, Marie Jackson, Lily and Hyman Klibanoff, AJ and Mama June Branham, Gussie and Isidore Buchholz, Anne and Sayers Bean, Thyra and Harry Jackson. We turn now to page 294 as we rise for the mourner's Kaddish to give thanks for the gifts of life and memory. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra kirutei V'amlich malchutei Bechaye echon v'yom echon U'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala v'bizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olei Almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei Kedusha Brichu Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah Mishmaya V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mamam Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen.
Ve'imru Amen. Ve'imru Amen.
Rabbi Mary. I would like to thank Rabbi Mary for being a great teacher of Torah. Even though our time together was all virtual, I'm grateful for our meetings together. Ginny Mercer and Carly Ring. Thank you to Ginny and Carly for teaching me to read and chant the prayers in my Torah portion. Thank you for your guidance and patience. Seth Kellum, thank you for bringing the Ruach to Sunday school and for the uplifting music for my bar mitzvah. Marty Gillen, thank you, Marty, for taking the time to come to our home videoing our family prayers for Shabbat. Thank you to all my Sunday school teachers and classmates for my time at religious school. Thank you, family and friends near and far, for participating and celebrating Jackson's bar mitzvah via Facebook and YouTube.
Please rise for our closing song, B'Tselem Elohim.
Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 We all got a life to live. We all got a gift to give. Just open up your heart and let it out. We all got a piece to bring. We all got a song to sing. Just open up your heart, let it out. Yeah, when I reach out to you and you to me, we become B'Tselem Elohim. When we share our hopes and our dreams, each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. We all got a tale to tell. We all want to speak it well. Just open up your heart and let it out. We all got a mountain to climb. We all got a truth to find. Just open up your heart, let it out. Yeah, when I reach out to you and you to me, we become B'Tselem Elohim. When we share our hopes and our dreams, each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Breshit bara Elohim. Breshit bara Elohim. Breshit bara Elohim. All our hopes, all our dreams. Breshit bara Elohim. Each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Breshit bara Elohim. All our hopes, all our dreams. Breshit bara Elohim. Each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Yeah, when I reach out to you and you to me, we become B'Tselem Elohim. When we share our hopes and our dreams, each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Each one of us B'Tselem Elohim. Each one of us B'Tselem Elohim.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Mazel Tov. Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simin Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simin Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simin Tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Shabbat Shalom.